Okay, yesterday we saw machlokes between Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yeshua regarding the where exactly does rain come from. Like Rabbi Eliezer, the Eid Yalim in Aretz, rain comes from the oceans. The oceans condense, evaporate, it goes up into Shemayim, goes into the clouds, and it comes down. Like Rabbi Yeshua, no, it comes from the Mayim Elyonim, and we said the cloud goes up, it opens up, and the rain goes in. And then it kind of opens little, like a colander, a sieve, and it sprinkles down. So we have machlokes exactly where it came from. So now we're picking up along those lines with 2 lines from the bottom on Tes Amid Beis, 2 lines from the bottom on Tes Amid Beis. Kiman oz lahodam Rabbi Chanina, koines kaneid me'ayom. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gathered the water like a mound, noisein ba'oitzreis tehoimos, placed in the treasuries, in the storing houses tehoimos of the great deep. Mi gorim lo oitzreis sheyismalu bar. What causes the oitzreis of the storehouses of food sheyismalu, they should be filled bar with food, is tehoimos. It's the great deep. So obviously the great deep is what? Is the ocean coming up. Who does it go according to? Obviously Rabbi Eliezer, who says that water comes from the ocean. That water comes to the ocean. Rabbi Yeshua, what does he do with that pasuk? What does he say? That's Bibriyasa Shalaylam. That's only speaking about the creation of water. It's not speaking actually about where rain comes from. It's just telling you, Koines Kaned Me'ayom, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world. Yikavu Amayim Mokamecha B'Seirah HaYaboshe, right? Let the water come and gather in one spot and it should be seen. So it's describing the water of the ocean, how it was created, but not exactly how rain worked. Okay. Tan Rabbanan. Very geshmaka, tiniest block, guys, full of stuff. And we have time at the end. I'll speak out a fascinating tshuva from the Shiur Mitzuyim Ba'alacha. Very, very nice tshuva. We have time. That's Hashem. Tan Rabbanan. Eretz Yisrael, Nivras Tchila. Every Yisrael was created first. And all of the world was created afterwards. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu first created Eretz Yisrael, and then he created what? The rest of the world. Now, it behooves us. Okay. You might remember Gemara and Yuma. The Gemara says that Yerushalayim was there, and then the Eretz Yisrael, the rest of it, they put Regavim, they put around. So it would seem to be a little contradictory because the Eretz Yisrael was created first. There it says Yerushalayim created first. So really, it's not contradictory. In Eretz Yisrael, Yerushalayim was created first, and then after that, everything else was added on. That would be the pshat, according to the Shiur Mitzuyim Ba'alacha. Shnemar, ad lo'asa eretz. Now eretz refers to Eretz Yisrael, guys. Ad lo'asa eretz v'chutzais, until they made eretz, then v'chutzais. So first eretz, first they made Eretz Yisrael, and then chutzais. Eretz Yisrael mashkoi sa HaKadosh Baruch Hu ba'atzmai. HaKadosh Baruch Hu irrigates Eretz Yisrael himself. V'chalolim kulo al yidei shliach, and the rest of the world is through the rest of the world is al yidei shliach. Shneimar hanoisein mater al pnei aretz v'shaleach mayim al pnei chutzais. So you see, he puts mater al on the Eretz Yisrael, and the shaleach mayim al pnei chutzais. Then it gets what the rest of the world. Eretz Yisrael shoyis and mega shamim. It gets the mega shamim, which seems to be the first dibs. The chalalim kuloi mitamsis, and all the rest of the world gets from the remnants of the mega shamim. Shnemar hanoisein mater al pnei eretz. Again, the same pasuk. That first he gets the mater al pnei eretz. Eretz Yisrael shoyis tchila. Eretz Yisrael gets the drink first. V'chalalim kula b'sleiv shnemar. Hanois the same pasuk. Hanoisein mater al pnei eretz. Again, eretz comes first. Mashal adam. Shemagbal esa gavina, a person is churning out gavina, he's making cheese. So noitel esa oichel, first he goes ahead and takes the oichel for himself, umeniach esa pseilis, and then he leaves what? The junk. So too, in other words, like the whey, the remnants, the stuff, so too Eretz Yisrael gets the best, gets the water, and the rest goes. Amamar. So going back, guys, we said yesterday, yeah? They need it more. No, they say the Saint Halamata because they need it more. We're gonna speak that out tonight. But tonight's the sugya of the Saint Halamata. Exactly when we start saying it, right? Tonight's the sugya. So it's what? So 6th or 7th, but again in Eretz Yisrael they began much earlier. They began already. Okay. Anyway, so we have. Chaim, just move over one seat so I can see Mordechai. I know he wants to hide behind you, but that the good Rabbi has to look. I always look at the Rebbe. I wish they would have told me that. But yeshiva days, like you notice the opposite because when you don't learn, what's the first thing you do? No eye contact. You're like, okay, now We saw, guys, we asked, according to Rabbi Yeshua asked, according to Rabbi Eliezer, how is it possible for the water to come from the ocean? After all, the water from the ocean is salty, yet the water rain is not. So Rabbi Eliezer says it rises from the world, goes into the clouds, and the clouds is sweetens it. So Omamar, going back over that concept, Omamar, mimaskin hein ba'avim minole. How do you know that the water gets sweetened in the clouds? The Amrab Yitzchak Bar Yosef, Amrab Yochanan Ksiv. It says cheshkas mayim aveshchakim, the darkness of mayim, the thickness. Uksiv chashras mayim, chashras like the sieve of mayim aveshchakim. So how do you go ahead and reconcile darkness and sieve? Shakal kaf v'shadi areish. You take the chaf. We're going to combine the words. We're going to take the chaf from chashras, put it in the word chashras, and it's going to spell chash sharas. Now we know that the hey and the hey and ches is interchangeable, so we can read it as hachsharas. Hachshara means the preparation, the preparatory, the what? So that the clouds are prepares the machshir, the water. Rabbi Yeshua Bahani Kroi my Darshibu. What is Rabbi Yeshua? Now obviously he doesn't need these pasuk to tell me to sweeten it, because he holds rain comes from the clouds anyway. It comes from above, so he doesn't need to sweeten it. So Rabbi Yeshua Bahani Kroi my Darshibu. Savalaki had the chiyasa Rav Dimi the following Omar. Ami B'Marova, they said in the Western Eretz Yisrael, Nochor Anane, when there's a light, the clouds are light. See Irin Moyi, then there's little rain. Choshech Anani, when there's thick, when it's dark Anani, then Sagi Moyi, then what? So he learns the word Choshchas to mean what? Darkness, and L'cher is only explaining the first pasuk. Keman Ozla de Tanya, Maim El Yoinim B'Maimahem Tuluyim, the Maim El Yoinim de Toli B'Maim. And the pasuk on day number 2 it says Yehira Kia B'Soch HaMayim. There should be a Kia B'Soch HaMayim, V'Mavdel B'Mayim L'Moyim, and it should separate between Mayim L'Moyim. There's a day in Bereshis that the Ramban says is the most esoteric day. We know nothing about it. It just says simply, and again, Yehira Kia, there should be a Kia B'Soch HaMayim in the middle of the water, right? And V'Mavdel, and it should go ahead and separate between Mayim L'Mayim. So what's it separating between? So we know there's something called Mayim Tachtoinim and Mayim El Yoinim. The Mayim El Yoinim are, we know nothing about. They are, that's where Hashem resides. They're the one that's closest to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. In the above the 7 Rakiyas, that's where the Mayim El Yoinim is. We said the Mayim Tachtoinim was jealous, and that's why, because it's not as close, and therefore HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, B'chol carbon takrav melach, and every carbon you should put melach. So when people bring karbanis, where does melach come from? The sea. So you're going to bring salt, and that's the whole reason why we put melach on everything. That's the, besides the fact that it enhances food. But I'm saying that's the reason. So therefore, this water that's up there, how does it stay up there? Says the Gemara, I'll tell you how it stays up there. It stays up there b'maimer kaviyachol, with the words of Hashem, b'maimer hein tuluyim, upeiroseyem, and their peiris megeshamim, and their peiris are what? Are rain. Shenemar mi prima secha tispa aretz. From the fruits of your workings of your hands, from your jobs, the aretz is tispa. Look at this fascinating Rashi, guys. On the right side, uperasein megashamim, mishum lishna dekro nakat hachi. This the lashon of peiris. Mishum dechsiv mi prima secha tispa aretz. The pasuk says, from the pre of your hands, tispa aretz, the aretz should be what? Should be satiated. Uperaseim. What is that? Kloimar. Mizeas hamayim, from the literally the zeya, the sweat of the mayim el yoinim, she'ein nechsarim klum. They're not missing anything. Kidichsiv, peleg elikim molei mayim, kol shah v'hakeren kayemes, upereseyim megashamim. Guys, the keren, you have an investment. So you have your keren, you have your principal, and then you live off the interest. Elu dvarim shein lo shia, peir v'abikron. HaKeren Kayemes Lo'olam Hazeh, Perisayim Lo'olam Hazeh, HaKeren Kayemes Lo'olam Haba. That's the ribbis. The ribbis is the Paris. The Mayim El Yoinim stays intact, right? It says, and from the Zeya of the Mayim El Yoinim, from whatever that's the Paris, that's enough to. So now look at the pasuk. Mi prima secha, from the interest of my secha, of your ma'aser, your actions of Mayim El Yoinim, tispa aretz. The aretz is what is soiveya. That's where it gets its satiation from. Beautiful explanation of the pasuk. Kiman Who does it go according to? Rabbi Yeshua, guys. This will be according to Rabbi Yeshua. Again, the machlokes, like Rabbi Yeshua, that the Mayim al Yoinim is what satiates the world. This pasuk, Mipima Secha, Tispa would be substantiated Rabbi Yeshua's pshat and disagree with Rabbi Eliezer, who seems to say that it comes what from the ground. Says the Rabbi Eliezer, Hahu b'Maisa Yadav Shel Kadosh Baruch Hu L'Siv. And it said Prima Secha, it's speaking about all of creation. Kadosh Baruch Hu's Maisa Yadav. Amishum and Levi, Kol Olam Kulei. Matzis Gan Eden, who shaisa. Mitamtzis Gan Eden, all the world gets its nourishment, its rain from the remnants of Gan Eden. Shenemar v'nor yotzim Eden v'shas nar mena from Eden, and it's shaisa the Gan. And it continues on. V'tana mitamtzis base core. From the amount of remnants of a water that it takes to go ahead and irrigate a base core, Shisa Tarkiv, you can go ahead and plant 3 kavim, tray kavim, 3 kavim. There are 3 kav to a saw, there are 30 saw to a base core, so 1/60th. 1/60th is the proportion. And therefore the Gemara goes off on proportions. Eretz Yisrael Abidal Meis Parsa, Dalas Meis Parsa. Eretz Yisrael is 400 parsa by 400 parsa. Vu'echem Mishishim B'Kush. And it's 1/60th of Kush or of Africa. For Kush Echem Mishishim Ba'olam, and Kush is 1/60th of the world. Ba'olam Echem Mishishim B'Gan Eden. The world is 1/60th of Gan Eden, and Echem Mishishim LaEden, and the Gan Echem Mishishim LaEden. The Gan itself is 1/60th of Eden. The Eden, again, this is all about my pay grade. The Eden Echem Me Samech LeGehenim. Eden is 1/60th of Gehenim. Nimsa Kalelim Kula, the whole world Kikisa Kedel Gehenim is like one pot covering to Gehenim. In other words, they're not running out of room. There's no share to Gehenim. Eden has no share. I'm Rabbi Sheh. My dechsiv sheichant al mayim rabim resides on mayim rabim. Rabbis oitzres mi garm lebabel sheyu oitzrem le'aspar. What causes bubble? That its storehouses should always be full of food. Haviyam ifnei shechenes al mayim rabim. Because again, it's a wet place. So where all the water comes in there. And that's the reason, as we're going to see, you don't save the Saint Talamata on Gimel or Zion Cheshbon. Amarav, Asira bubble is wealthy. The chitz the b'lei mitra, because you can harvest without rain. Amarabaya, nakitna, take the following Messiah with you. Tuvoni v'lo yivshani, swampy but not dry. Okay, speaking about rain. Okay, so we had 10 blot of rain, 9 blot of rain, and we continue with that theme. We had this earlier. The first Mishnah was speaking about Haskara of Mashav Ruach. Now we're getting to the actual request about Kasha for rain of the same Talamat Levracha. Good. So it says, Begimel of Macheshvin, and 3rd day of Macheshvin, Shailin as a Geshamim, you ask for Geshamim. Rabbi Gamliel says, B'Shiva Boy on the 7th day. The 7th day of Macheshvin, you begin to ask for rain. Tesva Yoim Achachag, which is 15 days after Sukkot. 15 days after Sukkot, Kadeshi Yagia Achron Shebi Yisrael Linahar Paras. I guess that was the outermost place where Jews lived, was the Euphrates River, and people were oil the regel. They would stay. Some people would stay the whole time. You didn't have to, but they did. Take into account. So you begin from 15 days. You give for a person to reach. Then you start asking for rain, because again, asking for rain can Zion. Once a person asks, it can happen right away. Again, as we spoke out yesterday, rain is a Kadosh Baruch Hu's. That's our connection to Hashem. It's direct. You without rain, we're all finished. And diving to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, bringing rain is that you see the koyach tefillah. I mean, there are places on earth that get no rain whatsoever. There are places on earth that
Kiki chili.
Nothing.
Chili. They cut holes in the roofs because there's no rain. They need rain.
They cut holes in the roofs. Well, you've been some interesting places, Benji.
Yeah. Selling
them some really good products, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. New York Jet T-shirts when they won the 2010 championship. They print the T-shirts and then they have to get rid of them. So they end up in those places. Amr Balasa. Halacha Rabbi Gamliel, the halachas of Gamliel that we start from Zion Macheshvin. Tanya now. So we don't, guys, we're holding way past. We're in Kislev, right? And we haven't started asking for rain. So how can the halacha be like Rabbi Gamliel? Then Zion Macheshvin, right? So here it is. Tanya Chananya Omer Ubegoila at Shishim Bitkufa. In the Goila, 60 days after the Tekufa begins. Now, I did the math, it didn't work out. The Tekufa begins September 21st. That's the autumn equinox. It doesn't work out. So I saw that Artspo put down that that doesn't mean mamish the order. It means from October 7th or October 8th. If you count 60 days from October 7th to October 8th, you'll get to December 6th or December 7th. And the reason
If I take just the calendar, the Catholic Church in the 1500s,
so that's why we did it.
Yeah, that's like a Gregory, I think, right?
that's how the count went.
Yeah.
What?
I heard that also.
Yeah, again, I'm not sure. Why did
Well, Heshy said so.
No.
no? Heshi heard what you said, but I like to hear you say it.
He's just saying.
But that the equinox, of course, was that's not really the equinox. That's what it's saying. That whatever it is, it's 60 again. The reason we ask is that's the time when Bavel would need rain. That's the time when you'd need rain. There's no other reason. That's the time. In other words, it's simply a question of logistics. When do you need rain?
It's where you are. It's not Eretz Yisrael.
So now this is fascinating. So okay, let's finish the Mishnah. And I see there's an interest. We'll go through a tshuva. What about Australia?
Yeah,
It's
South
the
America.
opposite, right? These
It's gonna be
places.
summertime.
South America. What do you? No, it's
Summertime.
opposite. In the winter here, it's summer there. So so you're going to say Masha Baruch in July. You know, you're going to say Saint Halamat in July. You know, so I'll share with you a psak that I saw. Very interesting psak. Okay, let's see the Gemara. So anyway, so Chananya says the Begoyla Shishim Kufa. Rav Huna Barchia Amashmuel Loch Chananya. The Loch is like Chananya. In Israeli Sova boy name is Shmuel. Me'emasai Me'emas Matkirin. When you start going say Masha Baruch, Saint Halamat Lebracha. Amalhu Chimayle Tzivi LeBeituvya Rishpa. When you bring the wood chips into the hut of Tvuvis Rishpa, he was a famous trapper. So the Chayyim, it's not 60 days. He says, how do you know? Maybe it's the exact same share. 60 days after the Kufa, that's when they would bring it in. Iboilahu Yom Shishim Kilfnei Shishim Aiklachashim. The 60th day, guys, is it the same bracha day or the same Talamata day? Right? Does it go after Ad Bechlal up until and including or not including? Tashma Rav, Amarav, who lived in Eretz Yisrael at the time, Yom Shishim Kila Achashishim. It goes like Achashishim, which means you're going to treat this, you're going to say the same Talamata. Shmulama Yom Shishim Kila Fnei Shishim. You'll treat it like before the same bracha. Again, you're running. Amarav Nachma Yitzchak, the Simunecha, Eloi Boy Maya, Tatoi Loi Boy Maya. Eloi up meaning Eretz Yisrael needs Maya. Tatoi below doesn't need Maya. On Rapapa Hilchasa Yom Shishim Kalacha Shishim Yom Shishim you say the same Halmat Lebracha. Okay, so very very interesting tshuva from I'll read a little bit of it. It was more than 300 years ago. They asked the Goin Rav Chaim Shapsi Mas'aluniki in the Sefer Tshuvas Torah Chaim in Brazil. They asked him Brazil, South America, right? What do you say? So over there, Lachor, you got a problem. Why? Because you might say Chamel lehem b'Tishrei ad Nisan, but you might say Geshamim Nisan ad Tishrei, right? So when did they say it? So they wanted to say that each one, the Rambam says and the Rosh says Lachora, it should depend on the place whether you need the rain or not. If you need the rain, you should say the same Talamata. If you don't need the rain, you don't say the same Talamata. Now, if that's the case, you're going to have. Well, it's going to be a haphazard. Anyway, the Rambam in Pirush Mishnayos says that, but when it comes to Psak Halacha, he says Shishim no. In other words, in Pirush Mishnayos, he seems to say like the Rosh, that what, depending upon your locale, that's when you would say. But in the Yad Chazaka, when it came to Psak, he said Taka 60 days. No carpa, you make a difference. You make a chilik wherever you are. But here's a Psak over here. The places that need rain, but it wouldn't be popular to say the same Talamat Levracha, right? So we'd ask for it in Shemei Tefillah. They'd ask for it in Shemei Tefillah. So in other words, in Brazil in the summer, in Shemei Tefillah, in other words, you don't have the matbeya of a same Talamat Levracha. You can't say it because so you would say it in the bracha of Shemei Tefillah. That's what you would say it. So that's the tshuva that I didn't read to you. Over Medina's Australia, you notice where I said Australia, right? In Higu. Rabbeinu London, Uberoisham Hagoin Rav Nasan Adlo Harav, the Sham that they should go ahead and they should say what? Shemei Tefillah, like in Brazil.
So they don't say it in the same time with the Rosh. They
No,
say it in Shema
there's-
Tefillah.
So you can say, they say if you forget the same Talamata in Shema Tefillah, you just go ahead and you say in Shema Tefillah, you say the same Talamata Lebracha.
What does somebody do to come from Eretz Yisrael?
A different minhagim. Okay, we'll see the Gemara now. We'll see the Gemara now. Okay, Higia Yud Zayin b'Mar Cheshvan. If you get to the 17th day of Mar Cheshvan, v'lo yardu geshamim, as you started asking right on Zion, and now you get 10 days later, Hischila Yechidim Misanim. The Yechidim we mentioned earlier, the unique individuals, they begin to fast Gimel Taniyos, Bahab. They would begin Bahab. They would begin on a Monday and not on a Thursday, right? Oichlin v'shoisin mishachshecha. They'd eat and when it gets dark. Umutarim b'malacha. They're permitted to work. Uberchitza and washing. Ubesicha and anointing with oil. Ubenilas sandal, wearing shoes. Ubetashim shlamita, marital relations. In other words, this is not like Tisha B'Av. It's not like Yom Kippur. Okay, it's just fasting for rain. Higia Reish Chodesh Kislev. You get to Reish Chodesh Kislev le'yadu geshamim. Bezdin goyis sholish taniyas al tzibur. So this is finally the Mishnah why this Masechta is called Tainus, guys. Right? Bezdin would be goyza 3 taniyas on the tzibur. They would eat and drink when it gets dark. Mutarim malacha. In other words, they eat the night before, guys. They eat not like Yom Kippur and Rosh and Tisha B'Av that it begins in the erev, and they would still. It's only a daytime fast. Okay, so So what do you have? Again, you begin asking for it on Gimel or Zion. We pass in Zion in Eretz Yisrael. Yud Zion Yechidim, Rosh Chodesh Kislev, the Bezdin with Geyser, and the Gezeru is Bahab. You begin the fast on Monday, Thursday, Monday, but you would never begin on a Thursday, as we're going to see why in a second. Man Yechidim, who are the Yechidim? So Amar Rav Huna, Rabbanon. It's the Rabbanon. From Rav Huna Yechidim, Misanim Shleisha Taniyos, Sheni, Monday, V'chamishi, Thursday, V'sheni. My Kamash Malon. So what's the Chiddush? What is Rav Huna teaching me? Tanina. Ein geyser Tainus al Tziba b'tchila V'chamishi. You can't be geyser a Tainus on the Tziba initially on Thursday, Shlei Dafkia Es Hasharim, that you should have inflation. In other words, what's going to happen is people are going to be start Thursday the shopping for Shabbos. So as I just said, it's going to go ahead and cause inflation if you begin on a Thursday, right? So, says Rashi, four lines to the bottom. They go ahead and buy food with They sudais gedailos, echel Tainus ve'echel Shabbos. One for the Tainus and one for Shabbos. Because and the Moich who's selling it, Sherav Bala Olam. Now why is everyone buying it? Like the snow day, right? The snow. What was it? Now snow, you go to the store, there's no milk. You see that events can go ahead and can affect the supply of food, and therefore for us, it's going to cause a tremendous inflation. Do you remember, guys, when they came out with new Coke? They came out with new Coke. The Coke had a brilliant marketing thing. They came out with new Coke for a short period of time, and the old Coke you couldn't get for nothing, and the prices were skyrocketing. So what did they do? They went back to the old Coke, which they planned to do all along. Okay, I'm saying you have inflation as a result of supply and demand. So therefore, you never begin on a Thursday. Bottom line is you got a kasha. What's the chiddush? So I might think it's tzibur, but a yachid not. Kamash Malon, even the yachid begins on a Monday to Thursday, Monday. Monday, Thursday, Monday. So these are yechidim, guys. They're mafsik. One of those days is by Shchodesh, they don't fast. And one of those days is the Yom Tov that is the Megillus Tainus. You also would not fast. For example, Chanukah is a Megillus Tainus, and it's in Kislev. So therefore, that would be a possibility that Rosh Chodesh Kislev is fasting, right? Now you said that Yechidim fast. A person should say, I'm a Talmud, any royally as Yachid, and therefore I'm not royal to be a Yachid to fast. Elakol Talmidei Chachamim Yechidim. Every Talmud Chacham is a Yachid. Right? Rashi says, Talmud Ani, ve'eni choshev kol kach ki Yechidim. I'm not so choshev to fast like the Yechidim from Yud Zayin. Klaimar, any royal a haskell tainus and Yechidim. A person should not say that. He shouldn't say that. A Talmud Chacham should not say that. Right? Ella, Kol Talmid Chachamim Yechidim. Every Talmud Chacham is a Yachid and is right, and it doesn't appear like he's a Baal Gaiva to join the Yechidim that are fasting not from Rosh Chodesh Kislev, but from Yud Zayim HaCheshvan. Ezehu Yachid, ve'ezehu Talmud. Yachid is called Sharoilim Noisei Pranas Al Tziba. You know what Yachid is? Anyone who's chashav enough to be made the leader of the congregation. And Talmud, listen, here's a Talmud. Called Sheshoinai Dovar Halacha B'Limudai Vaymer Afil Masechta Kala. Even Masechta Kala, which is a very small, minute Masechta, they're able to answer over there. That's a Talmud that's right to fast. Tanrabanan. So not everyone who wants to make himself a yachid can. Talmud oisa, but a Talmud you could. Divrei Meir. If Yosiyama oisa v'zach l'toiv, he should do it. And if he ain't shvach huloi, it's not like fasting. It's not a shvach to him. Ela tsar huloi, it's a tsar. Tanya yidach loy kol aroitz lasas atzma yachid oisa, but Talmud oisa divrei Reb Shimon. But Talmud he could. Rashi brings that it's speaking over here. When you make yourself Talmud, it means reading certain clothing in Baba Basra. You know, like people wear certain hats, certain frock. There's a look, there's certain clothing, and even Bisman has certain Talmidei Chachamim wear. I still remember asking my Rabbi, Sal, who of course not only wore a frock, but he wore the Vilna yarmulke. He wore the Reb Moshe's yarmulke. You know, the guys who wear those yarmulkes got to be a big cheese. You're wearing that, if you're wearing that, you got to know something. That's why when I saw it as a Purim thing, I got very upset. I saw it, they were selling in the store on Purim. I felt very upset. But I asked them once, I was wearing this Barney suit, a nice checkered suit with I'm managing myself, like flared bottoms to the bottom. I said, I asked Rashiva, can I wear this? He goes, for us knit. He goes, if Trug does for the business. He says, the whole reason he wears the frock is because that's the business, you know. He said, yeah, I love the line. Trug does for the business, he said. What? Yeah, but he wore it for the business. He didn't wear it, but by nature, he wasn't going to wear it. Okay. Anyway, so that's what it's going on. It's going on, according to Rashi, it's when it says to make himself a Talmud, that you could make yourself a Talmud by wearing this clothing. This is speaking B'davar Shel Shvach. Then not every person can make himself into a Yachid. B'davar Shel Tsar Oisa, you could. We mentioned in a good way, Shein Shvach Huloi, it's not a Shvach if you make yourself a Yachid to fast, or it's Tsar Huloi. Tanrabanan. Misha Hoya Misane Alat Sora, someone who's fasting on a tsar, for whatever tsar it is. For Avra, and the tsar passes by. In other words, you accomplish what you wanted, but you're still in the middle of a tinus. Guys, you accomplish what you wanted, but you're in the middle of a tinus. Ala Choyla V'Nisrape, you're fasting on a Choyla V'Nisrape, and the Choyla got cured. Harizeh Misana Umashlam. You're Misana Umashlam, and you complete it. Don't say, okay, it worked, right? Look at Rashi. Says Rashi, guys, right parallel to the left. Alat Sora V'Avra, Misana Umashlam. You fasted, you complete. V'Imlav, and if you don't complete it, Nira Ki Masla Im Kainai. It means like you made a condition with God. Im Tavor, if it gets better, then if it Im Tavor is Esne, blah blah, Aloy Esne, you know? So in other words, it depends upon what. If it's not going to work, I won't fast. But if it works, I'll fast. So again, you're fasting. It's, in other words, it's irrelevant. It's like tefillah. You daven. Whether Hashem answers it, it's regardless. You continue to daven. You fast for a reason. If the reason is taken away, you still continue to fast, right? Who knows if your fasting is the reason that accomplished that goal? Maybe it's another reason. You were makabel at tinus, you finished the tinus. Right? Maybe it's the enemy's fasting that did it, not yours. Maybe it's the other guy. Who knows? You don't know. If you go from a place that they don't fast, this is what Heshi kind of asked regarding the same Talamata, but you know the chumrah of the place that you come to. You come from a place that there's fasting to a place that's not fasting. You complete it. You see, you're taking the chumrah of the place you came from. Now, our gear says, shakach, if you forgot, v'achel v'shasa, and you ate, al yisroel b'fnei hatzibur, to continue eating, right? V'al yanig idunei ba'atzmai, and don't go ahead and say, oh, I broke my fast already, I might as well chaparayim. You don't do that. Now, if you look at Rashi, Rashi says something interesting. He says one word, achel v'shasa, di'eved. Now, shokach means you forgot and you ate. What does David mean? Meaning you ate b'di'evet. Shokach has no shaykhis to the word b'di'evet. Shokach means you didn't want to do it. You forgot. B'di'evet means that you shouldn't eat, but you did. Shokach means I forgot I wasn't supposed to eat. So clearly Rashi did not have the word shokach. If you notice, and even his Dibra Maskell, guys, look at his Dibra Maskell. He doesn't say the word shokach. He just says ochel v'shasa. So this Rashi, or the Talmud of Rashi, did not have the word shakach. So now, do not complete. In other words, don't go ahead and appear like a chassan among avelim by going ahead and continuing to eat, but you stop eating. Nor should you go ahead and say, once I ate already, I might as well chaparine. You go ahead and you minimize what you ate. Shnema, where do you see this from? V'yom Yaakov l'banav lama tisra'u. Amalam Yaakov l'banav al tiru atzmechem kisha'atem seveim. Lo mifnei Esav, lo mifnei Yishmael. They had food. The Jews had food. But Yaakov told him, don't go ahead and let them know that you have food.
It's not this week's parsha.
They shouldn't know. They shouldn't know what you have. Don't show off. Yeah, it's the makar for the goyim. Don't show off. Especially you live in Galus. Yeah, don't show off. Keep it quiet. Al tirgazu b'derech. Yosef tells his brothers, do not go ahead and tirgazu b'derech. What do you mean? Amar Rabbi Elazar, Amar Lahem, Yosef lachiv, al tisasku b'devar halacha. Don't be oisik in the devar halacha. Shem tirgazu aleichem haderech. Now the lashon of tirgazu, guys, mean lashon. Rogaz means what? To get angry, yeah? So we had a Gemara in Daf Daled. If you see a Tzubim Rabbanan that got angry, it's the Torah inside that made him angry. So he was scared if his brothers they're going to get fahitz in Torah, right? And why they say b'derech? Because when a person's b'derech, usually is part of a mitzvah. But Torah is a kiyam rat uvelechtecha v'derech. There's a mitzvah to go ahead. It's marsha, guys. Beautiful marsha. It's a mitzvah to go ahead and learn b'derech. So therefore he said, al tirgazu, the lashon of anger, because Torah, we just saw the Gemara of Dalet, Torah, the Surim Rabbanan gets the juices going. Gets people angry, Mendy, right? Torah gets them going, right? Right. You've mellowed over the years. You really become like a puppy dog, more like a pit bull. But anyway, says number Shnei Talmidei Chacham shemahalchim b'derech. Two Talmidei Chacham are going other way. Ve'ein b'neim divrei Torah. Ru'il saref. They should get burnt, right? They should get burnt. So how can you tell me you should not go b'derech and learn? Where do you see they should get burnt? Shnemar. Now it says by Elisha and Eliyahu. When Eliyahu is going to make his ascent into Shemayim, it says Vayi Hema Holchem Holoch Baderech Holoch V'Dava V'Dava V'Hine Rechev Eish V'Susei Eish V'Yifredu Men Shneihem, and it separated them. Time Medika Diba. The reason why they weren't burnt up because they were Diba. They were speaking and learning. Holeka Diba Rui L'Saref. So how can you tell me Yosef told his brothers not to? Like Hasha, Halamigris Hale Yune. To limigris, to talk and learning on a superficial level, not superficial, but on a surface level, that's permitted. Yune b'mastisa, but to go ahead and get involved in a sugya to be ma'ayin, that not. It's interesting. When I was driving my car, I drove my Rebbe around. He would never speak to me on learning, and because he didn't want me to get, he felt driving. First of all, he said mutali yishaygan. He felt driving was sakana. He held driving was sakana, and he said if he could, he would stop it, but he said he can't. But he told me that. So he never spoke in learning, and I realized why, because this Gemara, you're just gonna lose your train of thought. Tana al tafsiu psia gasa. A person shouldn't walk a psia gasa on Shabbos, right? That it's about an amma and a half. V'chnisu chama le'ir. You should enter when the sun is out to the city. What does that mean? Al tafsiu psia gasa damamar. Psia gasa. They tell us echad mechamesh mois mimor eneshal adam. A large step takes away 1/500th of the eyesight of a person. That takes away 1/500 of the eyesight of the person. So if you look in Shulchan Aruch, Reish Ayin Aleph, Sif Cotton Yud, and there the Ramah says by Kiddush you're supposed to look at the Neiros. You're supposed to look at the Neiros. It brings the Maril. So that says Maril that you should look at the Neiris and the Memches, the Mishnah Berurah says why? It restores that 1/500th of what? Of your eyesight. And that's why guys, you always have Neiris, not Ner. Because Neiris is 250. Ner is 250. 250 and 250 is 500. That's why you always have Neiris, you always have 2. It's going to restore the eyesight. That's the Makar. 1/500, right? I think I didn't say that. Yeah, Neiris. That's why you have Neiris. Taisus is the kasha, so it means 500 big steps and you get blind.
It keeps diminishing that.
So because 1/500 of each one, or he says even the dash. Once you blew it, that's it. One time you blew it, forget about it. But I'm saying so. This Taisus gives a few terutzim. Those are 2 of them. Okay, let's finish the Gemara. The next part it says Yechnisu chamal le'er ki Reb Yehuda Amarav. Dam Reb Yehuda Amarav lo'olam yetzi adam b'chitoy v'yachnas b'chitoy. A person should go ahead and leave in a good time and enter in a good time. Shnemar haboika or v'anoshim shalchu. Yosef waited to send the brothers away till the sun was up, not to go in the dark. So too, when you come in, you should try to come in when it's light, not when it's dark. So you don't have to worry about different things that are out in the dark. A person who goes on the derech should not eat more than he would eat in a year of ra'av. You can eat a minimal amount. 2 reasons. My timer. Here in Bubble, they said because of your stomach. So your stomach, you eat too much. Like if you ever fly in an airplane, you want to make sure that Yeah. Marava Amri in Eretz Yisrael mishum mizayne, because you may run out of food. You never know. So eat a little bit, you'd be sure to have enough. My binayu, if binayu Amid Aleph, the Yosef Ba'arava, you're in a boat. So in a boat, you don't have to worry about the travails of the derech, and you don't have to worry about your stomach going. So therefore, you can eat more. Inami you're going from one. Rashi says places of merchants, and they always had food there. So since you're going from one place of food, as the food problem, there's food. As the stomach problem, then that you would know. A papa called parsa chadarifta. A papa, he would eat a loaf of bread every parsa that he would go. Because he held him because of what? Because of a bad stomach. Rashi brings her papa was a healthy person. He had a big stomach, and he wasn't worried about anything, and therefore what? Okay. So Bez Hashem, tomorrow night there will not be a share at 8:15. I have PTA, but I will be saying share in the morning. If anyone can make it, it'll be posted. So you can I'll get Steve to post it. So hopefully you'll look in.
Thank you.